You're listening to Keith Engle, the host of TGI Sports Talk on the National Streaming Sports Roku channel.
Football season is here, and SeatGeek is my go-to for buying tickets. Now, with SeatGeek, every single ticket is backed with their buyer guarantee. We've all had plans change, and when you can't make it to the big game, SeatGeek has you covered. They're the only ticketer that allows you to return your tickets ahead of the event for credit with SeatGeek swaps. So when things come up, I know that my tickets won't go to waste. So what are you waiting for? Download the SeatGeek app to maximize your possibilities and shop live events with confidence.
All right. Anyway, I'm muted. I'm not muted anymore. Thank you for whoever might have put. There you go. Thank you, Scott Kobe. I lost my voice on the last show. We're good. Welcome, everybody, again to the Sunday Stream of Consciousness here on TGI Sports Talk. I was trying to get my Facebook. There we go. Now we're live on Facebook. We have a little trouble when we jump from one show because I'm sharing the show before us, and I have to stop that share to get to this show. So anyway, welcome everybody watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. We're live. Well, we'll be live about 9 on the Roku, National Streaming Sports Roku channel. So check us out there. And we'll welcome those who that join then. Quick shout out to the groups as always. John Gonzalez at the Sports Authorities. Greg Rawlings at America's Pastime, a love for baseball. Flo and the gang over at Bottom Line Sports. And again, Flo is overseas, protecting this country, as you were. That's funny. And Flo and the gang, they're still doing their podcast on Let's Talk Sports. And we have a lot of good friends, including Scott Kobe, who we'll say hello to this morning in a second. Who else? Ken Krause at Golf Ball, Sports of All Sorts. Quick shout out to Ralph Williams at RW Media. Ralph does some great stuff. I used to say out of Pittsburgh, but he's moved to Ocean City, Maryland. But he has a footprint in Pittsburgh and also across the country. Check out his shows, especially his Sports Corner, which he does every Tuesday from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern with Smoking Jim Frazier. Lots to talk about today, guys. Let me give you a quick rundown. It's your show. Don't forget, we're going to go wherever you want. We got baseball news. White Sox are being sold. Balls and strikes will have challenges on it looks like next year. Judge says he's not going to be in the home run derby. Thank you. Injuries continue. Harper back on the DL. 14 Dodger pitchers on the DL, by the way. More baseball to talk about, too. Aaron Rodgers, our long national nightmare is over. Aaron Rodgers has signed with the Steelers. $10 million guaranteed, can get as much as 19. Flacco talks about the fact that he's not a mentor. He's not there to be a mentor. He's there to win football games. Doesn't get a lot of press like some other guys. I'm a little surprised. Richardson is out for the Colts. Don't know how long, but the door opens for Daniel Jones there. Pac-Man arrested again. Quick rest in peace to the family of Tom Rafferty, who was an offensive lineman for the Super Bowl winning Cowboys in the 70s, longer than the 70s. I think he played 220-some games. So our thoughts and prayers go out to him, and we hope he rests in peace. The next BS bull, Tom Thibodeau firing. We're going to fire Tom Thibodeau and bring in frickin' who? Mike Brown, Jason Kidd, Luke Walton. Stop it. Halliburton leads the Pacers to a stunning Game 1 win over OKC, in my mind, on the road, 14 down. It's been the story of these playoffs. Teams coming from behind, 14 down in the fourth quarter. And there's more to talk about there if you'd like. Leon Rose, by the way, where are you? Why don't you speak up? You fire your coach, blame him for everything. You're the guy that's responsible for the mess. It's not even a mess. made the championship of the conference. Leon Rose kills me. College football, big settlement, House versus the NCAA. We knew this was coming. $2.8 million settlement, which will get paid out to players going back to 2016. It could have been $20 billion, by the way. The NFL, I talked about. The NHL, right now, we're tied at 1-1. An epic 2 overtime thriller the other night. 5-4 gets Florida even in this match with Edmonton. Where else? The Belmont Sovereignty proves that it wasn't a fluke in a Kentucky Derby. Caught journalism midway through the stretch yesterday and just found a fourth gear. Wins it easy. Win 2 of the 3 crowns. It's a shame he didn't run in the Preakness. What else? Congratulations to the Texas women's softball team. They win 2-1 over Texas Tech, and they are the national champions. And maybe we'll look at some college baseball if we have time, if anybody wants to get into it. Coastal Carolina is the first team to punch their ticket to Omaha. And congratulations to Coco Gauff, who's the first woman, I think, in 10 years to win the French Open. And she was one of Mac McGrath's favorites. He was talking about her long before she started winning major championships. So good for her. Good morning, CA. Good to have you with us. Sorry, and your Stars, by the way, fired DeBoer after losing the conference final. You can certainly give us your thoughts on that if you'd like. Good morning, Scott. Kobe. I do have a voice now, hopefully. We're good. We're on. Thank you for that, CA. Drew, good morning. How are you? Yeah, I know. My wife looks for a mute button on me in real life, actually. And, with AI coming and whatnot, maybe she'll be able to kind of install something like that. Just say, Keith, mute, like we do to Alexa. Man, when the machines rise up, I'm going to be dead. Dead. Before my news, Scott Kobe's got some news for us today, which we hope is very, very good. So before he wants to talk about it, what a match between Coco and Sablenka. That's what women's tennis is all about, a great representation of the sport. I saw a little of this match, not a lot, but a little. And Coco's been kind of moving up that ladder. And Sablenka doesn't give her much credit at the end. She said she played like the worst match of her career. So nice compliment there. Talk about ugly Americans. French Open men's final is upcoming. Check. It might be. Is that not? That's probably coming up pretty soon, I would think. Good morning, JB. How are you? What do we got, JB here? Let's take a quick look at his Orioles. Are they continuing to play well? They won 1 in a row, so I guess they're 1-1 on this road trip, or this weekend's road trip, I should say. Good job. They couldn't have paid much, did they? I threw. My problem was I left sovereignty out of all my superfectas. I had journalism in there. I had Biazza in there. I had Rodriguez in there. I even threw Bobby Flay's horse in there for fun. So they couldn't have paid much, right? But listen, winners are winners. I told Danny Fuller that yesterday as well. I think he hits a trifecta. And, what the hell? Again, you don't lose money. That's great. Craig Krimble. I'm not surprised at this, by the way. It is cold, but, look at Kimbrel's best days are behind him. Did pitch for the race before, right? I was a little surprised, I guess, but I don't know what goes on. I don't know what his health situation is. So, good morning, Bill Pulver. You won the Belmont bet? 7, he going off 7-2, didn't he? Maybe these payouts will be better than I think. Because 7-2 is going to pay what, $9 to win. So maybe the trifectas will be better than I think. I didn't see the payouts. New episode tonight. Don Herman, former wide receiver with the New York Giants. Back in the 60s, maybe early 70s, JB, if I remember right. Everybody check out JB's Back It Up Binge podcast. on YouTube. He does a great job, and we'll catch that. If not tonight, then at some point, JB. Keep up the good work. High noon for most of you. Miami at Louisville, Arizona at North Carolina. Those are the college baseball games today. There's, I think we could have a bunch of teams eliminated today. I think there's only one series that has played one game, if I'm not mistaken. We can look at it quickly, time allowing. And CDC Darts on YouTube page live around 11:30. Where are they playing? So the good news that Scott Colby's wanted to share with us, he teased us with this, and I was hoping this would be your news, Scott, because Scott's suffered, and again, you can share as much as you want. Obviously, Scott's been suffering with cancer and has been going through treatment for months. Scott, I remember it's got to be, I feel like 6 months ago, you told me this news, and Scott is in remission and had his last treatment on Thursday. So we want to say congratulations. God bless you. And let's pray that you don't have to go through that. Nobody has to go through this again, but you specifically, my friend. I know you fought a valiant battle, and congratulations. I couldn't be more happy. I've been thinking all weekend that I hope this was the news that we would hear today. And Scott, consider you a good friend, not just, through our association at the home, but podcasting, our shared fandom with the Patriots. And that is awesome, awesome news, my friend. Thank you so much for sharing. And I know everybody that I haven't said directly what Scott was dealing with, but I know a lot of their thoughts were with you. So high noon, great reference to a classic all-time film. Gary Cooper. I think Grace Kelly's in this movie, and I assume you mean the original, not the remake that I think starred the $6 Million Man. Can't think of his name. Why can't I think of his name? Anyway, I'm assuming you're talking about the classic with Gary Cooper and Grace Kelly. Good morning, Jack. JR Newspaper. What the heck? What? What is that? I'm confused already. I got the 8:43 before I got confused. That's pretty good. Toronto of all teams on fire. 9-1 the past 10. They've been playing very well for sure. 4 in a row. Mariners suck lately. Their pitching is in disarray. Their hitting has been very good. They've scored the third most runs or had. The last time I looked, Drew, the third most runs in the American League. I think they still have, but they've given up 280. The pitching, which should be carrying them, and hopefully that gets healthy, and then this hitting continues, they'll be back. This Mariner team will be all right. Cubs have 109 run differential. Rockies continue their futility. Listen, the Rockies won 3 in a row this week. And now they've lost 2 in a row to the Mets, of course. So they're still 3-7 in their last 10. They did jump up their win pace, though, to like 32 games. Probably back down to 31 now. If I did the math, I'm not going to do it right now. The exacta was 660, the triple 1380, and the super 4050. That's not bad on $1. The exacta I knew would be small with those two. Piazza helped the trifecta and the super. The superfecta, is that the one that's going to cover like 5 races? I forget. There's so many bets now. Jesus, right? I'm old school. I don't bet a lot of those. I'll bet an exacta. I boxed, as you saw in my post yesterday, just so in all transparency, I bet Piazza to win this race. And I boxed Piazza, Journalism, and Rodriguez. Those were my bets yesterday. So I came away with no money. Congratulations, Scott from Rick. Did you ring the bell? I certainly hope so. Drew says, congrats for great news for you, Scott. Everybody's happy for you. I'm glad you mentioned Sablenka's poor sportsmanship was not a good look. No, congratulate. You can talk later on about how he didn't play well. But when you basically are saying, and this is the way I read into it, I would have won if I played better. No reference to I went out and got my ass kicked. Lee Majors, thank you, Drew. I knew I had it right in the tip of my tongue. It wasn't very good, by the way. For those of you who may have seen these two movies, and I don't know why we remake classics. I really don't. We reboot too many things today. I mean, are there no new ideas? I watch plenty of things with great new ideas that aren't released as motion pictures or released as whatever, limited series on Netflix or Prime or Apple or Peacock or Max, HBO. 4 or 6 episodes. I think they're better than the movies they put out today because they can go deeper and develop more stories. We just watched The Residence on Netflix, and it was laugh out loud funny. The way they did the series was just very, very good. I mean, some people may not like it, but I love this quirky kind of thing. And the detective has a Columbo-esque is a Columbo-esque character. There's some others you can think in there with her, but excellent movie. Show, sorry. I think it was only 7 episodes, maybe. I'm not sure. But it was really, really well done and enjoyed it a lot. Your reference to news, what's that? Oh, I see. Well, let me go back to your comment. Where on the last show, it's funny. Now, where is that comment, Rick? How long ago was that? I can't find it now. Anyway, to Rick's point here, we were talking about Pac-Man. And I said, anytime I pick up a newspaper and I'm like, oh, geez, I do this like once a week now on some of these shows. I reference things nobody's done in like 20 years, for crying out loud. I used to have a newspaper in front of me all the time. I love newspapers. I still love newspapers, and I don't buy them anymore, of course. But I bought the Sunday, especially Times Union, the New York Post, the New York Daily News. Love newspapers. They're dying. Tigers have the biggest lead over the next team, 7 games. I think they also have the best record in baseball. Do they not? They do. Tigers are a good team. I love their corner outfielders. Torkelson's really stepped up. Their pitching, very underrated. I mean, they got the best pitcher in baseball, but the rest of that staff's underrated. And they got a very underrated manager who got a bad deal in Houston. Sorry. What is it? Championship Darts Corp, North America's Tour, which is majority American owned. Thank you. That's good for a change. But Barry and Eddie Hearn have a piece of it. It's a pathway to the PDC. We get the best up. We gotta have the best dart updates on the internet. I mean, CA is our reporter on the ground. Thank you for those updates. I did tune into DraftKings, the DraftKings channel or app, whatever you want to call it, and did watch some of this a couple weeks ago. And these guys are so good, man. It's unbelievable. New York Star Ledger and MLB box scores. Wasn't it great to look at the box scores on a Sunday and look at the league leaders? It's so easy to go on the internet now and just pull it up. But you didn't have access to this today. When I was a kid, I couldn't wait because my mom and dad were split up, and my dad would have us on Sundays, and he'd buy me every paper I wanted, and I would just devour them in the sporting news every Sunday, man. Go through those box scores. Go through the leaders, like I said, in the local paper. You'd get the you'd get the scores, and the standings would be they had pretty good sport. Actually, our local paper had a pretty good sports section. A lot of it was local, but anyway, they had the MLB stats on Sundays that only included stats through. Oh yeah, that would be a little late. Part of growing up, but they were much better time, man. Anticipation. There's no anticipation now, right? What do we anticipate? Because whatever I want, I just do right now. I want something, I go buy it online. Right? In the old days, I'd be, the Yankees were on the West Coast. I couldn't stay up to listen to them on the radio. I'd have to wait till the next day to find out the score. Now I just go look it up. Birthdays, how am I going to do today? TJ McFarland, not sure on that one. I want to say he was a Ray, but I'm not sure. Dave Malicki, pitcher. Pretty sure he pitched with the O's. Might even have been that really bad O's team in '89. John Gibbons, former manager, I think 2 times with the Blue Jays, and played a little bit in the major leagues. Kevin Gross, pitcher with the Phillies, and maybe some other. Britt Burns was a great lefty till he hurt his arm with the White Sox. Believe the Yankees brought him in, actually. Another Yankee pitcher that broke down. Correct me if I'm wrong there. Don Robinson, a pitcher with the Giants and the Pittsburgh Pirates. Len Cicada, utility infielder with the Orioles. I think the Brewers. Mark Belanger. I'm assuming you mean Belanger there, Drew. Great. One of the best, maybe the bestest defensive shortstop. Sorry, Ozzie Smith fans. He was great. Mark Belanger was as good. Not as flashy, but Mark Belanger was good. No stick. Joe Grisenda, I want to say left-handed reliever with Kansas City, probably some others. George Burnett, you got me there. Del Innes, I know he's a longtime coach in the American League. Van Lingo Mungo, don't know. And everybody's favorite, Eddie Gaedel, wanted bat in the major leagues. I can't say midget, right? That's a bad word. Little person who took a walk and was never seen again. One of Bill Veck's first gadgets. I like the National was really good. The late great Frank DeFord's paper. I think it was a couple of years. And by the way, a lot of great writers went there too. I was always surprised the National didn't make it, but I guess the National sports only. I mean, the Sporting News did it, but it was once a day. The National, if I remember, JB, was a daily paper. Great writers. Mike Lupica left the Daily News to go there. And I'm sure some others that I'm not thinking of. I think the great, who's a great, the great Boston baseball insider. His name's escaping me as well. National was a great paper. It was a shame it didn't make it. I feel like it went a year, 18 months. Yeah, this guy, I think his career average before this was about 205. I'm not sure. True. Cal Raleigh's turned into a superstar before our eyes. Watch him in the second half. This feels like a guy who'll be in the home run derby and hit about 3 home runs, and his second half will be crap. But he's playing great baseball right now, and he's really helped that Seattle offense, take another step. So he's one of the biggest surprises, I would say, in Major League Baseball this early season. Not early anymore, I guess. It's June 8th. We'll be on vacation. Let's see, we got all next week. We'll be here the 14th. I don't know what'll go on. I'll do my best to do the show on the 21st. We're going to be in Mystic from the 18th to the 23rd. Or 19th to the 23rd. So we'll see what we'll do about this Sunday show. Friday, I doubt I'm going to do an MLB update on Friday. Kind of just going to depend, but I doubt I'm going to do it on the 20th. We'll see how it goes. Another great baseball digest. I got to tell you a story about the baseball digest. The 3x5. Oh my God. What was it? 3x5? It wasn't that small, but it was like this big. Oh, you can't really tell, can you? That's about this big. Maybe a little shorter. It might have been like this. So let me tell you a story about the baseball digest. I got that every week as well, by the way. Another one, my dad would buy me anything when we saw him. And Sporting News Baseball Digest were musts. And the Baseball Digest was great. I think there's a version of it out there now, but it's online. It's terrible. We were at this place that sells books in Northville, New York, I don't know, a number of years ago, probably during garage sale week. And I came across this. They have the great townwide, garage and lawn sale up there, like a lot of communities do. But I stumbled across this woman whose garage is full of books. That's all she does. Gets donated books and resells them for $1, $2, whatever. That's when we were still buying books. Right now I got everything on a Kindle. But I probably bought a couple of books that first time. Then we went to revisit her like in the winter. She had the place open, and I found a treasure trove of probably, I don't know, 300 old baseball digests. So not, I don't have them chronologically for 30 years, but I've got baseball digests from a few from the 50s, a few from the 60s, and a ton. Most of them were from the 70s when I was buying it, and I got to kind of reread some of the things we did. And I mean, the crosswords were all done and everything, but it was fun. Oh man, I think I still have them boxed up here somewhere from when we moved a couple of years ago. But God, what I was like a kid in a China. Well, I was so happy that day. I couldn't wait to get home. Talk about anticipation. I couldn't wait to get home and rip that box open and just start devouring these things. God, it was like I was 12 again. You're a fantasy catcher. I'm not talking about fantasy. Drew's kicking my ass. Del Ennis was a left fielder, mostly with the Phillies, with three All-Star appearances, and he got MVP votes. Good. I try not to cheat and go look these guys up in a baseball reference while we're doing this. I try to get them off the top of my head. So, 3 p.m. at Tennessee at Arkansas, and also the U.S. National Swimming. There are 3 games. So let me, since we're talking about the baseball, I pulled this up earlier. Oh, shoot, do I not have it up anymore? I was busy looking up other stuff. I think I killed. Oh, here it is right here. So here's who's playing today. I think the games are in here today. They got the bracket. It doesn't tell me when they're playing. I'll tell you how they stand. Right now, as I said, Coastal Carolina has advanced. They're the first team to advance. They eliminated Auburn in 2 games. Arizona and Carolina. This is an elimination game today. The one that JB mentioned earlier. They both have 1 loss. As does Oregon and Florida State. That's an elimination game. I think they're all playing today. Miami and Louisville is an elimination game today. UCLA, that one, they've only played 1 game, but UCLA has no losses. UTSA has 1. It's funny. This side of the bracket's only played 1 game, so you'll also get Murray State at Duke, playing Duke, and LSU and Duke has. Murray State has 1 loss in that one. West Virginia has 1 loss. They'll play LSU, and Tennessee in this game that he's mentioned, they have 1 loss, so they're on the brink of elimination. Anybody with 1 loss today on the brink of elimination. Must-win games. Drew still gets the baseball digest. Not quite the same as a little version, but it's still fun. I feel like I picked it up one time and thought about resubscribing, but no. There's just not enough. Again, I'm too old school. They've ruined. I went back to Sports Illustrated again because they gave me an unbelievable deal. It's only monthly now, and with it being a monthly, it's much better than it was when it's weekly incarnation. And Sports Illustrated nearly went out of business here a year or so ago. But there's still some good writing, and I can find one or two articles a month that are worth it, I guess, because I'm only paying about, I don't know, $7 for 12 issues. I think the Baseball Digest, maybe I didn't like their subscription price, or would have tried it, but again, to me, it's just not the same as reading what was really. It was the Baseball Digest was literally, I would say, literally, just like the Reader's Digest, about the same size. And there was really cool stuff in there, but it's just like, I can't go back. Vivian Lingo Mungo was a starter. I thought maybe he was in Blazing Saddles, actually, mostly with the Brooklyn Dodgers. 5 All-Star game appearances. Name never rang a bell. Reading my latest baseball book that I've dived into on my Kindle is a story about the Dodgers, late 50s or through the 60s, and it's focusing on Maury Wills, Sandy Koufax, Tommy Davis, Wes Parker, and Jeff Torborg. And it talks a lot about the racial divides, and even the Dodgers, who were one of the most progressive organizations, still had some issues, when they go to Florida to Vero Beach, and there's segregation of the players. And they talk about how Parker and Torborg did notice the difference. Koufax and Wills kind of bonded over their own situations. Wills, there's a very famous story that Wills was dating Doris Day. It's in the book too, that Wills dated Doris Day in the early 60s, and Buzzy Bavasi called him into his office and said, it's got to stop. So even where you're in those days, even the most progressive of people and organizations weren't as progressive as you might think. JB with a Jordan. Anyway, it's a really good book. I can't think of the name of it right now. I'm sure I'll do this to my wife. What was that series we watched I liked so much? I loved it, right? But I have no recollection of what it was. How much could I have liked it? Jordan Westberg update. Rehab, 7 games, 9 of 25, 360, 4 doubles, and 5 RBIs. I can certainly use that offense on my team right now because my team, once again, sucks. Everybody's hurt. Hopefully you weren't a kid in a china shop. I've been a kid. I was a kid in a china shop yesterday. I had one of those days where everything I touched, I dropped. I'd get out of my chair. I'd do 5 things that go flying. Oh, God, it's frustrating. I just missed the end of a story on Sunday morning with the Doobie Brothers. Love the Doobie Brothers. Talked about bands last week. Left the Doobie Brothers off my list. Florida State, Oregon State. Yes, 1-1 today. I don't know what time these games are because I've only got the bracket up, but that's an elimination game today. You know, if you don't watch college baseball, you're missing out. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy when I get to this, but I don't watch it all during the season. I'll watch the conference tournaments. I watch the regionals and the super regionals. And certainly when they get to Omaha, it's really good baseball. I like baseball at every level. I mean, once you get to a point where you know what the hell's going on, you're not hitting the ball off a tee or, running the wrong way or running the pitcher's mound. Once you get old enough to understand the fundamentals of the game, which again are sadly lacking and sadly teaching it is sadly lacking as well. But I haven't done this in a while because my life has got busier, and it will get less busy. But I would enjoy just I'll go watch a high school baseball game up to the Joe. when they play sectional baseball there or whatever. Because it takes me back to the day, man. Some of these kids are so good. George Brunette was a starter, mostly with the Angels. Led the majors in losses in 67 and 68. Probably why I don't remember him. It's funny. Usually those guys in the 60s will stick in my head. Who was the first one you put up, Drew? I didn't recognize that name, but I did recognize the name, but I can't really place him. I feel like he was a Ray. Drew commented the other day, I'm better with position players than pitchers. I got a couple of pretty good pitchers, I thought, there today. Judge all the way down to 390, 488, 476. Yeah, he's in a major slump. No, he's not. He had a tough night last night, but and, Bellinger's doing okay, but I just think they're going to need more protection behind Judge as the season goes on. DJ's playing second base now since Jazz came back. DJ's still not his old self. I don't think he's ever going to be. He's hitting 250, but, the on-base percentage isn't there. There's no pop in his bat, as it were. He'll give you steady defense, probably better third base than second base at this rate. But the Yankees made a decision to move Jazz to third, at least for now. The Yankees are going to need somebody to step up behind Judge as this season goes on. And Bellinger hasn't done horribly, but with Goldschmidt thriving at the top of the lineup, you're not going to make a change there. Yes, congratulations. I think maybe I didn't mention at the Open, but the Texas Longhorns finally break through, win the women's softball World Series, College World Series, 2-1 over Texas Tech, who knocked out Oklahoma, who's been pretty much a dynasty in women's softball the last few years. It was a pretty much game 3. The win or go home game was not as drama filled as the other 2 games, where Texas won 2-1. In game 1, I believe Texas Tech staved off elimination by winning a 4-3 thriller in game 2, and then we had the kind of deflating 10-4 victory. But congratulations to the Lady Longhorns for sure on that national championship. Riley Green, one of those corner outfielders I mentioned earlier, leads the majors in strike. Nobody cares about strikeouts, though, Drew. I mean, this is what we've come to. We talk about it here. I rarely hear it mentioned anywhere. Right? Well, Soto probably should lead the leads in walks. I wouldn't pitch to him. Again, he's a great hitter. And by the way, I'm really hard on Soto, and I want to give him some props because I don't know, the game might have been Friday night. I don't know what it was. It was a close play at the plate, and Alonso was coming in, and Soto did a great job of waving him which way to go on the slide so he could avoid the tag. Great job. And I talk a lot about baseball instincts, and I don't think he possesses them, but he was very good there. But I think other than his bat, he's not going to give you a whole lot. There's our boy Neil Bush. And I did mention a big South Carolina fan. I mentioned at the top, and I think just a few minutes ago, that Coastal Carolina is the first team to punch their ticket to Omaha. Congratulations to them. It's always fun to see one of the smaller schools kind of jump up and take the reins here and knock off one of the big boys in Auburn. Now we get the Hurricanes in today. I think the Hurricanes will advance. This is what I predicted the other night on the college or the sports huddle, college sports huddle. Miami, I had predicted to win the series. Florida State, UNC. I did predict Coastal Carolina to make it to Omaha, by the way. I had Arkansas over Tennessee. I had LSU over West Virginia. I think I had Duke over Murray State, and I had UTS upsetting UCLA, I believe, which they could still do, but they've got one loss now. Doobie Brothers caught a rerun bootlegging their music. Get the reference? I do. Great. I tell you, they were still good in conference or concert. Saw them a couple of years ago. I've seen them touring the last few years. They've had Michael. Jesus, my mind is just a shot today, right? Oh God. They had a whole different sound when the keyboardist, Michael, come on, help me out. Anyway, when he joined them, their sound changed a lot. So I enjoyed some of it. And I like him as a solo artist. I thought he was wonderful. He did a cover of like a lot of Motown stuff that was out of this world. What is his name? Terrible. Michael McDonald. Sorry. Thank you. So somebody put it up there. I got it without your help. Michael McDonald. But the Doobie Brothers sound changed a lot. So the pre-Michael McDonald tours that I saw where they did their music before he joined them, because he didn't tour them for many, many years after they split up. Really good stuff. But Michael McDonald's solo stuff, also very good, especially this cover. No idea what the name of it is. You could probably, Google Michael McDonald Motown. He does a great job with some of it. Neil says Burnett ended up with the Pirates, he thinks. Well, he would end up on some much better teams than those Angel teams at the end of his career then. Come sit with Kenny and I at the Mohawks. But that's a good place. You might see me up there. Probably not this year because the season will be over before my time really frees up. Because 80 days of work left. Probably actually working days. This is probably about 48. You got to do the math. Probably about 48. And when you take out weekends, I'm taking about 10 days of PTO. I think in those 80 days, we got a holiday in there. So that'll be that. O'Neill Cruz leads the stolen bases with only 2 caught stealing and help from rules changes and whatnot. But congratulations to him. I do like to see the stolen base back. I know I bitch a lot about it, and I'm not going to apologize for bitching about it because I feel strongly that it's ridiculous. But I like to see the steal back. Mikhail, I don't know if I'm probably not saying that right. Garcia has been caught 7 times in 20 attempts and should be told to stop trying. Good morning, Anthony. How are you, my friend? Where you been? Good to see you. You putting that Commanders logo up pretty soon, no? Good to see you, Anthony. Hope everything's going well with you. I know we haven't seen you a little bit, as I said. Hope you're doing well. TJ McFarland, reliever for Baltimore, Arizona, Oakland. Everybody, so he pitched for everybody in the league except for Race. He's still, wait a minute. Led pitchers. Oh, I thought you said 1979. Still with the Sacramento A's. What a joke of a stadium that is. I'm telling you. Man, they're going to be there at least 3 years, probably 4. By the way, it also looks, we were talking about the Belmont a lot earlier. It looks like the Belmont will come back one more. It's very doubtful that they're going to be ready to go back to Belmont next year. So it looks like Saratoga might get a third year. And despite the horrendous weather, they had 50,000 at the track yesterday. Plus they had all these events since, I think, Wednesday. They had race cards, I think, Friday, Saturday, and today, I think there's a race card. I was amazed by this, and some of you guys might know it, but here in Albany itself, I'm in Half Moon, I don't know, 10 minutes from Albany, 15 minutes from Albany tops. With the airport. Yeah, 15 minutes from the airport where they take these readings. My weather guy, Steve LaPointe, talked Friday night on his weather broadcast. I did not realize this. I know the weather's been crappy, but we have had some kind of rain or snow part of every single weekend since Thanksgiving. That is amazing to me. I can't do math really well, but that's a long time ago. That is a lot of weekends without 100% no precipitation. It might be a record. I don't know. I'm sure some other people already knew this, but I just found out when Steve informed me. Yes, I'm on a first name basis with Steve. He and I are very good friends, at least through the TV set. He's a good guy, though. I did run into him in Galway at the Cock and Bull restaurant one time. Nice man. And my favorite weathercaster. Too many climate change references lately, but I may have to switch off of him, but I don't think I'm going to get away from that anywhere. Just give me the weather. And there's Chris F. Grave. How are you, my friend, our Canadian correspondent? Chris sent me a very funny voice message the other day on Messenger. In the late 90s, Hulk Hogan 1 year filmed 3 movies in 1 year. Well, I know he did Rocky 3, which was probably the 80s, though, right? Was it Rocky 2? No, Rocky 3, where he played Thunder Lips. I don't know what else he was in. What were the movies? Chris, give me the movies. Chris Bubik still leads the majors in ERA. He's on your roster, I think, isn't he, in your league, Drew? I have him in another league, actually. I just picked him up on waivers, I think, a month ago. Royals have started to manage his innings due to his being used as a reliever last year. Let's manage innings because that works well. Jesus Christ. You stretch him out over time. You don't manage his innings to keep him down. You stretch him out over time so he can throw more innings and strengthen his arm. These guys all do things backwards, I'm telling you. Oh, my God. Ron Guidry came out of the bullpen in 1977 to get into the rotation of the Yankees, and I want to say maybe late April or May. They didn't manage his innings. God. These guys. The same team, by the way, that wastes, brings up a guy. And again, Drew and I had this conversation Friday. I don't even have, what's his name? Cagliani, right? Their number one prospect, like the 10th best prospect in all of baseball, which means nothing, by the way. They could have waited 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks, and kept the year of arbitration. And I'm not a big fan of, holding guys back just to save years of arbitration. But when we're talking about freaking 10 days, and now we're going to, are they trying to win or not? I swear to God, it's win prevention is one of the positions on these teams. Our win prevention coach or executive. Amazing. Bunt. The hell's a bunt? Nobody worked up over my boy Thibodeau getting fired, and we're going to hire Jason Kidd or Mike Brown or Luke Walton. Did I miss the last time these guys led teams to championships? They're the guy to take us to the next level. If it's not Jay Wright, this was a stupid move, and Jay Wright right now is out of this race. Sorry, I wanted to get that in there in case anybody wanted to get on that topic, because I am livid, if you haven't noticed, on my shows. And Leon Rose, how about you once get out in front of the camera and tell us what you're doing yourself? This guy, since he got hired, he's done a good job building a roster. But that bench last year, that was this year, that was so horrible. It's his responsibility, not Tibbs. And we've seen him talk about, I don't know, 3 times since he's been here running this organization. You fire a coach, and you don't even have the gumption to get in front of the press and tell them why. We'll release a statement. We thought we needed a different voice to get to the next level. All Tibbs would do is keep taking you to higher levels every single year he's been here. No reason to think he couldn't get this job done and get them over the top. None. This franchise won 7 playoff games in 20 years before Tibbs got here. He's won 24. Ridiculous. Oh, I'm sorry. Got back. I'm back. Bring back the bunt. Yeah, I talked to Friday about the fact that in extra innings with this stupid runner on second base, nobody bunts him to third base. Nobody. Well, I'm not going to. Obviously, I'm sure somebody has. Think Aaron Boone's ever done it? Billy Martin would have eaten this rule up. He'd be bunting twice and get a run in. John Miller on the late Chuck Carr goes by the name of Chucky. Sort of flamboyant type. I remember Chuck Carr, center fielder with the Rays. Probably some others. John Miller was a great announcer, man. He did some great impressions, too. How am I doing time-wise today? 9:15? 7 minutes behind. That's not terrible. Guys, if you put comments up, stick around because I'll get to them. There's not a one I don't put up. We saw Eddie Money open for 38 special junior high. Going back now, CA. Were they junior high or were you? Wednesday, Beeks asked me to do security at Belmont on Broadway. You didn't? Oh, I guess you can't. Are you unable to do any of that right now, Rick? Or again, I don't know. I know you like doing it, and I'm sure it's nice to have that extra moolah in your pocket. So I hope you can do it again at some point. I didn't hear of any problems over the weekend, but I really haven't checked out a lot of the local news yet. Missed it last night. I slept through it, actually. We were over to Sophia's. Which I hadn't found. We haven't been to. We knew about it, and it's a really cute place. They've done a lot. I guess they've had about 3 owners in the last 10 years or something, though. Food was terrific. Italian. I had a few old fashions, and they were like, she was a heavy pour, man. And I just slept through a movie and most of the news last night. So, oh well. We had some fun. Did I miss this here? We saw that. Saw that while in junior high school. 38 special still touring. It's amazing some of these groups that are still out there with a guy. I don't know how old these guys are. My reference of time isn't good with them, but Chicago's out there, and most of those guys, the original guys, are pushing 80, and Robert Lamb barely even gets out there anymore, which is a shame because he was, to me, was the driving. I know people talk about Peter Cetera and whatnot, and they were better with Peter Cetera. Robert Lamb is a driving force in my mind behind this music that Chicago's done for the last 60 years almost. A friend of mine is taking on Jose Canseco. Jose has his own way of communicating, but you got to admit everything that he has said has been true. A lot of what he said has been true. I don't know about all of it. Chris, because I'm not sure all of it is even it's able to be confirmed, because he's had some wild accusations, but he hasn't been wrong about a lot of stuff. I agree with you. And he's a guy who was, blackballed early on when it comes to this. And the situation's dangerous, man. That situation was dangerous. You saw what happened to Ken Caminiti. Dangerous situation. 12 pitchers have whips below 1. Evaldi, who's hurt. Skubal, Skeens, Joe Ryan, DeGrom, who will get hurt. Wheeler, Rondon, Fried, Wu, who I mentioned is the best fifth starter. He's probably not the fifth starter anymore. Brown, Tyon, it's not Talion. I always say the name wrong. I think it's Tyon, who was a Yankee. He's pitching with the Cubs now. Some pretty good names on there. Some good young pitchers, too. And Skubal and Skeens and Wu, Brown. The coach fire was an idiotic Dolan move. I don't think Rose had a say. I don't agree necessarily. There's no way that and Dolan is George Steinbrenner at George's worst. This is George Steinbrenner circa, late 80s, early 90s. And I do think Rose, and I don't give a crap whether this is my tirade is not you, Neil. And I don't really give a crap whether Dolan made the move or didn't. I want to see Leon Rose get out in front of the press just once. He brought him here. They had a relationship previously. Get out in front of the press once, Leon. You don't get out in front of the press for anything. Tibbs is always out there, win or lose. Dolan, we want to stay behind the frickin' scenes. Everybody I've talked to this year has commented how Dolan stayed out of the limelight the last couple of years. And Dolan's not smart enough to know that Tibbs isn't the guy to get him over the hump. I think it's Leon Rose, and Leon Rose trying to cover his own butt. That's what I think. Now, Dolan might have had something to do with it and said, one of you is going. You decide whether you want it to be you or your buddy Tibbs. Leon Rose built this roster. Leon Rose brought in Cat, who doesn't play defense, didn't care for Tibbs. The start, he gets to the conference finals, by the way, with no bench. And his 5 starters were minus 30 while they were on the floor for the year. Worst team in the playoffs for that. And he gets to the conference finals. He can't coach. He can't get them to the next level. He's progressed. That team has progressed another level pretty much every single year. And this is the way most teams do progress through the playoffs. Whether the Pacers or or OKC Thunder win this championship, and a great comeback, by the way, by the Pacers the other night, 14 down in the fourth quarter. Halliburton is a superstar. I don't care. You don't like him, doesn't matter. He's a superstar. One of those teams have worked their way to this point. Very few teams just come out and get in the playoffs and go and run to the championship year 1, year 2. Most are a progression. Look at the Celtics last year. Another great example. There's zero reason to think Tibbs isn't the guy to take you over the top. Rip him for his minutes played, playing his starters too much. That's why they're minus 30. He doesn't have a bench. Neil, you could have been the 12th guy on his team. And that's on Leon Rose. Dolan, I've given Dolan plenty of heat over the years, and he may very well have had something to do with this. But Leon Rose also had to get on board. Leon Rose could have stood up to him and said, "No, we're not firing him. Do you realize Jimmy? Do you realize you've won 7 playoff games in the last 20 years before he got here with like 13 different coaches. I have no respect for Leon Rose. None. Drew thinks Sid being fired has been low-keyed because these kind of stupid decisions. It has been low-keyed. It's all over. It's a huge story and all over the country. At least if you're reading the basketball pages. I mean, I guess in certain places you may not see it, but these kind of stupid decisions are made all the time when a team doesn't win at all, no matter how much they improve. Nobody takes anything Dolan does seriously. I take this seriously because it's stupid. Sell the freaking team. I've been saying that to him for 30 years. Sell the team. You do this without a plan. If you got a guy, listen, I'm all for bringing Jay Wright in here. I love Jay Wright. Jay Wright's not coming. Jay Wright's not going to be the coach of the Knicks. And if I'm the Knicks, I go to his house, even though he says I'm not coaching. I'm having dinner with him, and I'm saying, Jay, I'll give you anything you want. Because I can't think of one other guy. You're going to give me an unproven assistant like Johnny Bryant? Johnny Bryant might do great things. Steve Kerr did great things when they fired Mark Jackson, and Steve Kerr took him to another level. You think that happens like 90% of the time in these situations? No. I'm going to bring in Ibaka or whatever the hell his name is. Well, the Rockets aren't going to let you talk to him anyway. Budenholzer has at least got a championship. Jason Kidd. Did I miss all the championships he won? Got chased out of New York, got chased out of Milwaukee. Now he's looking to get out of Dallas. Mike Brown? Luke Walton? And don't talk to me about Danny Hurley. Danny Hurley's a great college coach. He would get eaten alive in the NBA. Triumph is getting back together. I don't know who that is. Help me out. You didn't mention your coach getting fired to this morning, CA. I think Mike Tomlin's streak of winning records is about to end. Don't understand the move at all. It's desperation. The fact that Rodgers, and he's only getting $10 million guaranteed. I think he can get to 19 with escalators. But by the way, that's what he asked for. So the market wasn't out there for Rodgers. He had no leverage. None. And this is max of desperation. Mike Tomlin, I don't know why he signs off on this. And here's the problem. Do you know the Steelers? And the Steelers always had an identity until the last, 10 years. That very stable organization, 3 head coaches in 56 years or more, 56, I think, maybe 57. But now they hang their hat on this whole winning streak record, a record of winning game, having winning records. Big deal. You haven't contended for a championship in at least 10 years. Now, maybe they were in a championship game in 17. Other than that 1 year, you really haven't been a contender since 2010. You lost your way. You lost your identity. And you don't have a real plan. You can't go just replacing your quarterback year after year after year after year. Look at the Jets. They show you. I understand it from Rodgers' angle. So if he wants to play football, it's the only place he's got to go. There is no place else that he can go. I thought the Steelers would be better off making a trade a 4th, 5th round draft pick for Kirk Cousins, who wants out of Atlanta and is going to get out. Well, maybe he won't now. This was a logical place for Kirk Cousins. Whether you like him or you don't like him, they'd have been better off with Kirk Cousins than Rodgers. I know Rodgers' numbers weren't awful last year, but the eye test says he can't play. Oakley should have flattened him. Another Dolan bullcrap move, banning one of the Nick Legend from the building. Now, Charles wasn't, without fault here. I'm not saying he was, but please. But the Cold War, they did offer an olive branch to Oakley. There were some stipulations in it that he has to adhere to, but I'm not sure if he's actually going to acquiesce or not. So it's a shame that Charles Oakley isn't there enjoying this run the Knicks had in the playoffs this year. And by the way, whether it's Leon Rose or Charles or Jimmy Dolan, this went back to his father. What were the expectations 2 months ago for this Knicks team? Were there any right-thinking people that think this team was going to make it to the conference finals? I wasn't. I thought they'd get in, win a series, and get knocked out. They got past the Celtics, the reigning champions. They made it to the conference finals for the first time in 25 years. You know how long that is? You know how many coaches they've had since then? By the way, another guy who might be okay coming in here might be Jeff Van Gundy. He's not going to happen either, by the way, because Tibbs is his buddy. Jason Kidd. You better keep Jalen Brunson happy. I'll tell you that. Man, one of his favorites, right? Kevin Mitchell, I did one of Chris's favorite moments on the show was when Kevin Mitchell jumped into the chat. I interviewed Kevin a couple years ago from a golf course. He was playing golf. And that's what he was doing at our interview time. But we had a great interview. We had a lot of fun. And then I don't know, last year, I think it might have been like around this time last year, Chris, when Kevin just jumped in one day. It was awesome. He's a fun guy. The guys that I interview there's a lot of them that I still communicate with on a fairly regular basis. Matt Bruss has jumped in here, former St. John's great. Where's everybody out here? Arjun, pop in here and say hello. Frank, say hello. Give me a comment. Got a lot of viewers out there. Before I shared, it's funny how I don't know how the algorithms even work. We'll end up these shows, by the way, the live views that are here at some point during these 2 hours. Usually between, 40 and 150. Both here and on my personal page. And then the views on YouTube or Twitter aren't terribly high because I haven't learned how to get the show in front of more people. We'll figure that out maybe when I retire, especially YouTube. And then once we share it, we'll get to 1,500, sometime 2,000, depending. This show usually does about 1,500 to 1,600 a week after we share it, just all the groups that allow us to do so and whatnot. And we really appreciate that. But Friday's MLB update, for some reason I got off and my personal page had about 300 views. 200 and some views, but the TGI Sports Talk page had like 500 during the hour we were on. So I don't understand the algorithm quite yet, but we're going to continue. And I ask all you guys, when I post the event, share it to your pages. Invite your friends. If you go to TGI Sports Talk, just click the three little dots, and one of them is invite friends. Because as we continue to grow this, it just gives me more incentive to continue. And your help is always appreciated. We've been stuck in the 2000s for a while, and I want to push this thing to 5,000 in the next year. Gonna figure out how. And so it begins. I'm guessing, I don't know what began. French Open? Oh, I guess that's maybe the French Open finals. Cespedes continues to be a cattle ranch man in his home country. Where is that, by the way? I don't even know where that is. He had a nice run for a couple of years. He kind of burned bright and flamed out. Yankees still leading HRs over the Dodgers. KC is only. What is with the Dodgers? 14 pitchers on the disabled list. Goslin is the latest. If Major League Baseball doesn't think that they have an issue with injuries, because I don't know what they're doing. We don't train these guys right, I can tell you that. I mean, we have more advanced training techniques than ever in the history of baseball. I don't think Babe Ruth misses injuries that often in his career. He was in the kind of shape I'm in. Casey is only 42, which explains why they brought up Caglione. No, it doesn't. They could have waited 10 days. I'm not going to change my opinion there. He's only 2 for 20. So he helped, right? So, and cost themselves a year of arbitration. That's my whole point, Drew. You could have I'm not saying they don't need help. They absolutely need help. But it didn't seem to me there was any reason to think he would have given them enough in that 10 days, 11 days, 12 days, whatever it is, to warrant losing that year of arbitration. If you think the guy's good enough to play in April, and we talked about why he wasn't on the roster in April, totally understand it. Then wait. Well, my problem is when guys are ready to play in April, and we know he wasn't. There have been plenty of guys through the years who are ready to play in April, and they waited till June. So this is a silly move. Usually I'm all over teams for just sending guys to the minors that can play now and help me now. But when you're just days away, that's like me getting to within 10 days of my retirement, right? And then quitting and not getting paid my commissions or bonuses for, the month of August. That'd be stupid. Anyway. Dodgers lead batting average, 266. Unsurprising, Rockies. The Rockies should be last, and we should not be surprised with anything the Rockies throw out there. They're on a hot streak, right? And they're 3-7 in their last 10. But they are on a pace to win 32 or 31 games right now. We did the math on Friday. They've lost 2 games since, so they could have dropped from 32 to 31. In Canadian football history, it's still a humdinger that Wayne Gretzky and John Candy, once I'm assuming that is owned the Toronto Argonauts, in that area when the Argos were still dynamite and could draw 50,000 to a game. I used to watch some Canadian football in the summertime back in the day, way back in the day. I watched when Flutie played a little bit, but back in the Warren Moon days with Edmonton, I watched a decent amount of Canadian football, and it wasn't bad football, different. And most of those places seem to draw 50,000. You think the UFL would? They don't draw 50,000 to a whole weekend of games. And wasn't John Candy part of the Edmonton ownership too when they moved Candy, or they moved Gretzky to L.A.? Was John Candy somehow part of that, or maybe I'm misremembering that? Mets still leading the ERA. The A's. The A's were, the A's got off to a pretty good start. I think they were like 22-21 not that long ago. And what are they now? Pretty sure 22 and 21. So that would make them like 3 and 18. No, 3 and 20 in their last 23, if I'm right. I'm close to being right. That might have been 22 and 22. I don't know. Andy Bennis. Andy Bennis was good for a while. Scott Erickson. Andy Bennis had his best years in San Diego. I think he also pitched with, maybe it was his brother. I think he also pitched with the Mariners and the Cardinals, or maybe just the Cardinals. Scott Erickson pitched with Minnesota and the Baltimore, probably the Yankees at the end of his career because he sucked at the end of his career. Come on, Joey Gallo. These are all big pitchers for sure. We've seen bigger guys. You left Randy Johnson off this list, who is 6'10". Chris Young was 6'10". So yeah, there's been some big guys out there. Then you get little guys like Maddox, who only win 355 games in their career. I love the interview with Mackie Sasser. I had a lot of fun. And we're still mulling the whole interview thing. Rick's been prodding me to continue, and we'll take another run at it. And again, if we have an easier time, and I've got it easier, I guess is relative, right? As I'm working, 10, 11 hours a day sometimes, it's hard to just chase these guys around. That's why we've been doing the encore interviews. And I found a few. I wish somehow I didn't save a lot of them. I wanted to play some of the ones that I had done early on. The Greg Pryor interview, the Todd Stottlemyre is one of my favorite interviews. Chuck Foreman. But somehow the files all got corrupted. I have no idea. I'm sure it's user error. So we've only got the last few months of things to go back to. But Mackie was a lot of fun for sure. And he was a very, very successful college coach after his playing career. And we talked about his inability to get the ball back to first base. He ended up getting the yips at one point with the Mets as a catcher. CA's trust management. However, I'll say this. You trust it. Oh, I see. I missed the I because I don't know what that emoji is you started with there. I trust management. However, I'll say this. I don't believe the Oilers beat the Stars if they had to play Colorado and Winnipeg. Fair. Right off the top of my head, I don't know who the Oilers played. But you got to play the teams in front of you, right? And I'm not one to. I don't take this in a way that's meant. I'm just not I don't rationalize why I lost. If I lost, I lost. You can always do things to, put yourself in a better position to win. If you lost, similar to what we talked about with the tennis star who lost to Coco Gauff, you could have played better and won. Maybe you wouldn't have. I don't know. But that's a gauntlet to go through, Colorado and Winnipeg. I will not dispute that. Who did the Oilers play? I don't even know who they played. Another Met pitcher, the late Anthony Young, had strong comparisons to Greg Maddux, other than the fact that he lost like 30 games in a row. What did he lose? Doesn't he still hold the record for losses, consecutive losses? I don't know what it is. It's a big number, though. The most tough luck pitcher in the bigs was Mr. Young. There's been a lot of tough luck guys. But, and again, quite frankly, not being a Met fan, he's not a guy that I saw pitch enough, I think, to make a call on that. I'll take your word on Anthony Young. I know that he had a lot of talent and was a fairly big prospect coming up, and didn't really pan out. Luck is a fickle thing, man. I've always been a believer that you make your own luck in life in general, not just sports. Luck is a residue of good design has always been kind of one of my favorite cliches. Good morning, Dave Guyette. How are you today up in Amsterdam? Hopefully it stopped raining. Saw some nice flooded streets up there. Route 5, I think it was 5. I think it was Route 5 or 5S. I think it was 5. Flooded at one point. Dennis Rasmussen. Dennis, if you're watching, we got to do our interview. Dennis, I was all set. I had him set for an interview, and he messaged me like 2 o'clock in the morning the night before that he couldn't make it, and he hasn't since. I know he was doing some coaching, so that held us up. In fact, I still got all my notes. There's a couple guys that have not shown up. I don't want to say stiffed me for interviews. Him, June Jones, Rick Barry, Reggie Brooks, Notre Dame. I've still got all my notes. I can do an interview tomorrow. If you guys are watching, I'll interview all 4 of you tomorrow. But Dennis Rasmussen had he had a couple of good years with the Yankees, and if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't they get Rasmussen in return for Greg Nettles? My guy, Greg Nettles. You're damn right I do. Chuck Foreman was one of those great interviews. I did it on a Sunday afternoon because it's the only time he could do it. He was a good interview. We had a lot of fun, but we were talking about how he changed the game a little bit. His position anyway, he changed the game a little bit. And he got talking about, he doesn't understand the criteria for actually getting in the Hall of Fame. Never has understood it. And I just, it's just kind of matter of factly said, so I'm guessing you believe you deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, Chuck. And he goes, you're goddamn right I do. I love it. One of my favorite moments. Oh, God. We've had a lot of fun doing those interviews. The interviews themselves, I love. As I said to you guys, I love doing the interviews. It's the work leading up to it that's really hard. And it's work. But don't make any mistake. You think it's easy getting these guys. I guarantee it's not. And then you got to worry if they're going to show up, and you prepare and nobody shows up, and it's just irritating. Or they cancel the day before or whatever. But the preparation takes time, right? We got to prepare a little bit here. It's not like we come unprepared. But if I gotta find some information on the fly, it's easy to do. Or one of you guys has it for me. Interviews are different, man. I gotta be ready, and I probably over prepare, but we'll get back. We'll likely give it a chance. Drew says the last 8 matchups in fantasy. I don't think I'm making a comeback I made last week, by the way. Neil and Rick are duking it out with Neil leading 9-7, which that turned around since Friday, right? With most hitting categories still up in the air. Beating Keith 14-7 with some pitching categories still up in play. I'm not going to get a turnaround like I had last week. I don't know what. I think I was in roughly the same situation last week and ended up winning by a couple, 2 or 3 points. So, which is unusual. I usually blow leads on Sunday, not come back. Well, there is some luck, but I think luck, again, I do think the luck is a residue of good design in a lot of ways. I believe in luck. I believe in karma. I don't root for anything bad to happen to anybody, but there's some people I see on Facebook, man, they better watch out for karma because it's going to find them. And I keep warning them. There we go. I knew Drew would have this information. I was close. Young still leads with 27 losses, straight losses, by the way. His 6-year career was 3.89 and a 1.39 ERA. To Chris's point, that's better than Those numbers are better than I would have thought, and they're certainly better than that's a 500 record at least. Now, those Met teams, I don't think were very good. I don't remember the time frame they fell in. But good call, Chris. I'm going to give you. I'm going to back up and make sure I say good call, Chris. F. Grave. I'm not sure if that's true, Dave. Now I got to look it up. I don't think that's true. I'm going to find out, though. That'd be an awesome fact if that's in fact true. Is Aaron Boone related to? It should come up, right? Daniel Boone. That's a top-rated thing on Google when I put it in. I didn't put Daniel Boone's name in. I just said, is he related? God damn it. You're right, Dave. Good job. Aaron Boone is a descendant of pioneer Daniel Boone. Great fam. Did he play in the major leagues too? Everybody else in the Boone family did. Maybe we get Daniel to manage the Yankees. How that'd be better. Can we dig him up and put him in uniform? Boone's done a decent job this year. I can't get on him this year. Right now, I can't get on him. There's very little for me to get on him about. He's done a pretty good job with some pretty tough circumstances. So I'm going to give him his props for now. Good call, Dave Guyette. My bad. Awesome. Milton Bradley living a much better life now. Grew up abused by his father, I'm guessing you mean. Came back from Nam with a nasty drug addiction. Yeah, Milton Bradley was a very volatile personality when he played. He had some talent as well. And sometimes, our own personal demons are what hold us back in life and whatever we're talking about. I'm out of comments here at 10 o'clock. This is unusual. We still got other things we can talk about, guys. We can go back to Rogers more. We can go to Tibbs some more if you got comments there. Balls. We're going to likely have balls and strike challenges next year. Freaking. Judge is not going to be in the home run contest. Thank God. Any content on the NBA series? OKC, shocked they blew this 14-point lead in the fourth quarter, but that's kind of been the theme of the playoffs in a lot of situations. And Halliburton, whether you like him or you don't like him, he's a superstar, and he's really, really coming into his own. It's kind of a quiet time in sports right now, right? Daniel Boone played high school ball with Jack. Jack, if you're listening, Jack Hirsch, I'm sorry. It's funny. Yeah, probably my biggest problem in life is funny is always funny to me. It doesn't matter how inappropriate or offensive. Actually, I shouldn't say that. There are a couple of things, I guess, that would turn me off, but funny is always funny. It's just me. What else do we have? Let me look around then. I'll find a couple other things, see if I can throw out there we haven't chatted about yet. What is going on in major leagues with the injuries, man? Any predictions on the OKC? I'm going to tell you right now. I said OKC was going to win in 5, or the Pacers would win in 7. Now I know that's a bit of a hedge. I think OKC could come back and win 4 straight games. They're really, really good. Ugh, where's my Athletic? Sometimes I can get some more stuff out of the Athletic. We talked about Manny Machado on Thursday. That's what happens on a late day. Luke Voigt is back in my comments. I'll get there in a second. Let me just bring this up, Chris. Maybe we should get him over here. What's the numbers now? The problem is he didn't have those numbers in the major leagues, though, man. I love Chris is like a dog with a bone with this guy, Luke Voigt, right? Dog with a bone. He had his moment in the sun, right? With a little bit with those Cardinals before they traded him to the Yankees. And he had a really good season and a half or whatever with the Yankees. Played really, really good baseball. And helped that team win a lot of games and get them into the playoffs. But, you know, when his star started to lose its shine, things kind of spiraled for Voigt in the major leagues anyway. And gosh, I mean, the league's hitting. Some of the hitting in this league is so bad that you would think that if somebody thought Luke could play and help them, Chris, I think he'd be there. I really do. But I'm really happy that you because I like Luke Voigt. I really did. And I'm glad that you keep us abreast of him down there in Mexico. By the way, is Trevor Bauer pitching in Mexico again? Is he pitching anywhere right now? I don't think he'll be back. There you go. You just got it. And Luke gives me the numbers. Pretty good numbers. Those are Ruthian. Almost 10, 1 homer per 10 at bats. What is it? 1 every 11? Trying to do the math. Maybe it's 13. It's not quite 13. 12 and a half. 1 every 12 and a half at bats. I just got to believe if somebody thought he could help him, because it's not like he's going to cost a lot of money. And is Trevor Bauer pitching in there? Would you guys give Trevor Bauer, this is a good topic of conversation for the next few minutes. Would you guys give Trevor Bauer another chance? Knowing what you know, knowing that likely, I mean, probably his decision-making could still be put into question, right? But it appears the things that got him kicked out of baseball could have been made up, or at least part of them, the worst part of them. But it doesn't change the fact that he's not a really good guy in a clubhouse anywhere. He's not a good fit for a team looking to win a championship, other than the fact that he's a really good pitcher. And is that enough to worry about blowing up your clubhouse or causing issues and distractions that don't need to be there? I don't. Look, the Yankees could use a starter. I do not want to see him in the Bronx. I'll be very clear. Maybe the Rockies should sign Bauer. Well, there's a good answer. Because the Rockies, you know, for years I had a running feud with the Mad New Yorker. That, you know, he used to they say that the NFL and Major League Baseball, they ought to relegate teams like the Premier League does in soccer. And I said, that'll never work. That'll never work. That'll never work. Well, I bet you that there's a AAA team we could find we could relegate the Rockies and bring them up, and they do just as well or better than what the Rockies are doing. So maybe I was wrong about that. Who are some other exile guys? Addison Russell. He was a big prospect, right? Osuna. All in Mexico. Bauer's not there, I take it. Yeah, I've seen a couple. Drew's got some. I remember Addison Russell being a big prospect, and Osuna, I don't remember. So, there's a lot of Osunas, so I'm not sure. It seems like it's a Smith and Jones name lately in the Latino world. I did see some Jeez. Here's a headline Drew found on Bauer. Bauer blasts MLB redemption arc for Pete Rose and pleads to rewrite his own legacy. Well, there's a big difference. First of all, Pete Rose is dead. Joe Jackson is dead. They can't affect Major League Baseball. I know that Bauer wasn't thrown out for throwing games or betting on games. I'm a character guy. I don't want bad acts on my team. I didn't want Herman back on my team after he beat his wife to a pulp in the Dominican, 4 or 5 off seasons ago. Didn't want him back. Bauer, whether he did what he was accused of doing or didn't, let's just say he didn't do it. And I guess it appears he didn't. He's had some history before, too. I don't know why. And you abuse a woman, man. You are out of my life. So, and plus, he's just a bad character guy to have on your team. Great talent. Is he pitching? He's pitching in Japan. So he's trying to pitch in every country he can. So let's see. He's pitched in how many different countries? He's pitched in the U.S. He's pitched in Japan now. He's pitched in Mexico. He's pitched in Canada because, we know we play in Canada. He's pitched in California, the country of California, and the country of New York. We do feel like we're living in a foreign country. I feel like we're living in a foreign country here in New York. I had to include New York because I was not blasting, but joking with Danny Fuller, and Matt, out in California about how many countries we had tuning in and watching us in a given show, and I counted California as its own country. And I thought to myself after the show, I said I was being unfair because I guess I could put New York in there too. Actually, not the entire state of New York, just the freaking lower portions. Sorry, Neil. Anyway. That was pretty funny in my head the other day. So he's pitching a lot of countries, I guess, is my point. Nobody's answered my question, though. Would you give them a chance in your team? And if you have a strong fandom for a team, you have to have an opinion here. Now, if you don't really care about any, you're just following baseball and don't follow a team or have a strong fandom for a team, then you might think sure, let him back. I think you'd be more likely if that was the case. I think if you had strong fandom, well, I'm interested in both sides, I guess. But I would think you're more likely not to say, I don't want him on my team, if you have a very strong allegiance to a certain team. By the way, the Yankees are holding their breath on Volpe. He had x-rays after getting hit by a pitch the other day. I don't know what the update was there. Red Sox talking about calling up their top prospect, Roman Anthony. I don't think you'll see him before the 14th, by the way, Drew. They're desperate as well. Corbin Burns, another big pitcher, out for the year with Tommy John surgery. I don't get it. There's Matt. I just mentioned Matt. You're like Beetlejuice, Matt. I mention your name and you show up. Good morning out there in probably sunny California. All you Californians, I should let you know, as I said earlier in the show, I found out, maybe some of the local guys already knew this, but I didn't. I found out Friday night on the news that we have not had a single weekend without some kind of rain or snow since Thanksgiving. That's a long time. What do you got for us, Matt, these last 20 minutes? Bring something to the table. Other players who have had issues with women have been given chance. I'm not saying they didn't. My point is I would never give them a chance. I think it has more to do with attitude and team fit. Major League Baseball teams can do what they want. I'm telling you, I would never have that guy on my team if I was running it. Never. Or anybody. I don't want anybody puts their hands on a woman, a child, or a dog or cat is dead to me. I've had people in my own family that I've pushed aside. I've had friends that I've pushed aside because you don't do it. You don't put your hands on a woman. Ever. I told you guys in my own past, there was a situation where if I was ever going to do it, it would have been done. And I never would. I walked away. Get hit over the head with a phone. It's many years, decades in the past, but still, I walked away. Didn't flatten her. I'm not saying just like guys, there's women that deserve to probably get a smack, but you don't do it because it's not right. If your logic holds with Kaepernick, he can still play. He deserves a shot. Yeah, he does. He can't play though. My logic has always been the same. And this isn't this. I mean, it's not the logic with Kaepernick is different than the logic with the guys we're talking about. I've long held that if Colin Kaepernick had enough talent, he would be on a team. I didn't say I'd want him on my team. But again, the argument was he blackballed? So I guess in some ways, maybe my argument is contradictory, right? If Bauer could pitch, some team would take him. He can pitch. Major League Baseball, maybe they got higher standards than. Well, Drew doesn't think so because there've been plenty of pitchers or players that have beaten women. You know, and I hate it too because sometimes the guys will throw, like foreign customs are different than ours. Whatever, it doesn't matter to me. But I have long held that Kaepernick would have played. He can't play now. He's 37 or 38 years old. He hasn't played in how long? 7 years, 8 years. He had a flash in the pan and a tricked up offense, and that was it. And then when teams were able to stop that pistol, his lack of accuracy and other issues made it easy for the 49ers to walk away from him. Plenty of other players kneeled after he did. And I'm not saying it's okay that he kneeled. And I had this argument with a lot of I was called like a rhino at the time because, I couldn't possibly, be a member of good standing to my party if I thought it was okay that he kneeled during the national anthem. Whatever. I don't like it. I hate it. But it's not the same thing. Did he disrespect the country? Yeah, he had a viewpoint that he could have used and use a different platform for. But we didn't get rid of all the other guys that did it. Maybe some probably paid the price, I'm sure, that couldn't play. Right? The guys that could play, they kept playing. And again, I guess to me, it's not like I can every situation isn't the same. That's the funny part is when I said, oh, no, you shouldn't be firing guys who just, decide they don't want to participate in the national anthem. If it was that big a deal, why didn't the network show the national anthem? Except it's a Super Bowl, basically. Now, and then they started showing it because it was a story. They made it a story. Anyway, I got myself in trouble over that one. It is what it is. Gloomy in SoCal. Gloomy. Actually, we're going to get we're going to get we're going to get the haze from the Canadian fires. You'd bring him back. Chris would bring him back. Before social media, we knew less about each other, and it's not like this kind of crap didn't go on all the time back in the day. I can't disagree with that. But we do know more about people today. So, I mean, should we... the steroid guys have been treated different than the guys who took greenies in the 60s and the guys who did whatever they did in the 30s and 40s and 50s. We know that amphetamines were a huge problem in baseball in the 60s, maybe even back as far as the 50s. I don't know, or farther back. Who did I have on my show? Randy Lurch. Talked about when he got to the Phillies in the 70s, they were just in bowls like M&Ms. So those guys are treated differently because we know more than we knew then. I don't disagree with your point, right? That there were tons of guys. Hall of Fame's full of bad people. Not that we didn't know some of the bad stuff about some of those guys. We knew before Ty Cobb was put into the Hall of Fame that he was a racist, I'm sure. Enjoyed my first game in year. Yeah, that's right. You went to see the Yankees and the Angels a couple of weeks ago. But and you had fun? You enjoyed it? Sweet. Nothing like a baseball game, man. I still like baseball in person. Got to get to Yankee Stadium this year. My wife wants to go, and I can't. I keep putting her off. I don't know why. Major League Baseball All-Star Game, Tuesday, July 15th in Atlanta. Oh, we're in Atlanta. Interesting. Interesting. You guys can figure that out for yourself. Baseball season is almost half over. I got to check your math now, Dave, because Drew and I had this conversation a few weeks ago. You're not too far off. 65 games played. Got 20, 18. I'm trying to do the math. 17 games, I guess, for some teams. 16 games for other teams, and we're there. We are close to the halfway point. It's funny how they, we've always looked at the All-Star game as kind of like the halfway point, and by then we played like 90 games, I think, right? Or more. Yeah, the conversation has pretty much been, I think, and again, I don't know whether anybody really, Drew's kidding. Sorry, Matt, I'm reading ahead. All the California guys are out for the last few minutes of the show. Anyway, Rogers, I don't think is going to help Pittsburgh. I think they probably, maybe, who knows? Maybe they get their, whatever, 100th straight winning season, which isn't accurate, by the way. I'm obviously being facetious. But that seems more important to them at this point than winning Super Bowls. This team hasn't had a plan, a solid plan to compete for a Super Bowl. Maybe one time, two times in the last freaking 20 years. That's got me. I don't have an answer. Well, they're hitting each other. And I ain't hitting an MMM woman. She's going to beat the bejesus out of me. Drew found a loophole, though, I guess. I don't know. Do they fight each other? Men and women don't fight each other in MMA, do they? I don't follow it, so I don't know. My guess is no. I mean, we've had a lot of these conversations. I would guess a woman would get her ass kicked fighting a guy in MMA. Danny Fuller. See some legendary names here in the chat room today. What's that? Can't read. I can't see what that emoji is. What is that? I can't see what that is. Welcome, Danny. Good to have you with us. Just so you know, I am now counting New York as its own country as well. I didn't think it was fair to the citizens of California to make them think they're the only ones that are not living in the same country as the rest of us. So I've added New York to that list. Sports Illustrated took their time after Kirby Puckett's death to write about that thing. That's a great point. What's your name? Chris. That's a great point. And here's the thing. It's almost like politicians, right? And actors. There was a time where media people didn't report what they saw or knew. That was certainly, and that we're not even talking, we're talking decades ago, but we're not talking a century ago with Kirby Puckett. Nobody knew that he was a bad guy. Sorry, if you do that, you're a bad guy. I don't care what you do for charities. I don't care what you do for kids. I don't care what you do for anything. If you abuse a woman, if you abuse a child, and I will even say if you abuse pets, you are not a good person. I don't care what else you do. But you're right that there was a time, and it wasn't just because there was no internet. Well, maybe it was. Partly due to that, because there are other ways for us to find out information about people today than there was when the reporters would keep all this stuff in their notebook. I mean, look at the stuff Mickey Mantle did. Yeah, I'm going to say he's beat women, by the way. He just went out carousing. The well-known story. We didn't find out how much of that there was until after he retired. Ball 4. Jim Bouton's book is really what shown the spotlight on, you know, how much these guys went out and played hard on the field and off the field, and also how they're, you know, in the clubhouse, there was a lot of performance enhancing activity going on, even in the 60s and likely into the 50s. But it's a great point. Again, I understand. I can't go back and retroactively, you know, kick those guys off my team. And listen, this is my opinion only. I'm not saying Major League Baseball or any other teams or even my team won't do it. Or I'm just saying I wouldn't. That's my own, just me. You're hearing all, I mean, you get me unfiltered. Votes for the best MLB offseason acquisition so far. That's a good one, Drew. How about Max Fried? I'll throw that out there. Max Fried. There's my vote. Max Fried. Didn't take me long. AC, we got a lot of late showers today. We aren't going to go too late. We can go a little over. I did find out, by the way, I can now on Roku, which is the big thing about keeping it within 2 hours, or really I should stay within my, and I never did welcome the Roku viewers, so welcome if you're watching on Roku and you came out at 10. I have to get off the Roku channel at certain times, and also for a while you could not share, and we do replay these shows a couple times a day on Roku. And you could not do a pre-recorded telecast if it was past 2 hours. Apparently that's changed. With no notification, but it changed. So anyway, hi AC. I can't go too long though because I'm going to have some personal business to take care of soon. You don't need to apologize. Too much partying last night. See, I had a little too much bourbon last night myself, or early in the day. We were out for an early dinner, late lunch, and my bartender had a very heavy hand on my old fashions. You're not young anymore, me either, buddy. Toronto media really pumps the tires on on Ernesto Clement. Blue Jays fans love a good lunchbox type hero. John McDonald was adored in Toronto. I remember John McDonald there. Toronto's playing well, Chris. We know that you're a closet Yankee fan. But your local, more local team, I guess. See, I think you live a bit from Toronto these days. Babe Ruth drank beer and ate too many hot dogs. I wouldn't doubt they had some kind of amphetamines getting these guys going as well. How do you think this guy went out, drank beer, ate hot dogs, ran around with women without any reports that he ever beat any of them, by the way? And still was able to play day after day after day at a high level. There had to be some kind of amphetamine that they were using at that time. Had to be. I'm just using logic, man. I don't know how you could day games besides, guys, in the heat. Had to be something. But great point. Toronto loves Addison Barger too, Chris. Toronto fade. They made sure my prediction of their manager getting fired, Schneider getting fired, would not come true for the third year in a row. How about them global citizens people? How many you can attempt to break their indoctrination to the World Cup of Soccer? How about them global citizens people? Many you can attempt to break their indoctrination through World Cup Soccer. I'm not sure where we're going there. I'll be very honest with you. I'm a soccer fan for every 4 years. Amazing how the citizens of Southern California get up early for Keith Engle. We deserve our own props. You do, buddy. But yeah, you're sleeping later and later. You get my props, my friend. You people on the what would she call you? The land of Cal. I don't know. I lost my train of thought. You get props for me. You and Matt. I mean, it's only. It's 8:27. That's not. I'm sorry, 7:27. That's fairly early, I guess. I'm an early bird, man. I'm up with the sun. I just don't sleep. I didn't go to bed. Well, I slept a lot last night before I went to bed. But I didn't go to bed till about 1:30. I usually go to bed between 11 and 12. But I sleep probably 5 hours a night. Now, unlike days past, I used to wake up every 10 minutes. I swear to God. 15 minutes. All night long. But now, if I sleep 5 hours or 6 hours, I sleep straight through at least. So I feel pretty good when I get up. But I've never been. I'm up with the birds and the sun. I love the morning quiet where there's nothing going on. I might sit out on the deck, watch the sun come up. Not rainy. I love it. Peaceful. Get ready for my day, whether it's a weekend or work. Drew reminds us Stankies and Freed. Yeah, I agree. I'll give you Goldschmidt, too. It's another good one. But again, Drew and I talked about this on the preview show, and I guess we're going to go a little bit long here. We'll give you guys 10 or 15 minutes here until you guys stop commenting. But Drew and I talked about on the MLB preview show that I thought Goldschmidt, and I know that I think Drew was of the same opinion. He was very, very good prospect to make a good comeback season here. Getting back to his old approach, which for some reason he blew up on the offseason 2 years ago. Had a good second half. Coming into a good hitter's park, I think. And I think the way Aaron Boone has used him has helped him a lot. And I thought he would bounce back. And he's bounced back so good and been so consistent. I've kind of overlooked him a little bit, and his contribution to this Yankees solid start. So that's a good one too, Matt. Is there any irony to the fact that you, of all people, enjoy the old fashioned? No. I don't think it's a coincidence. I was a Manhattan guy for a long time, and then I kind of got into the old fashions. Still have Manhattan now and again, but I like a good old fashioned. Nice bourbon old fashioned. Do whiskey now and again, but what's the Miguel Andujar number report for today? Isn't he hurt? The Yankees have thought about Miguel Andujar, by the way, bringing him back. I think he's hurt, though. I think he's still hurt. But he is still performing. 296, not much power, 3 homers, 20 RBIs. OPS isn't that great, 730. On base percentage, not that great. Okay. If he could come in here and he was a doubles machine his rookie year, and he hit with some pop, and he was never the same after he got hurt. I wouldn't have a problem when the Yankees bring him in to be somebody off the bench. Grion Freed, give some points to Crochet. Crochet's played really well. Tucker's played well. I don't. I'm not sure Pete Alonso would qualify, but he's played better than we may have expected. I would agree. Crochet, I think I probably tend to discount because I'm waiting for him to get hurt. The Red Sox stink, and I try not to think about the Red Sox. Kyle Tucker could put himself in a position for a big payday this offseason. Bolt 72, San Diego or Los Angeles, because of the LA, California, Anaheim, LA. It's the real Disneyland Angels. Oh, man. I believe, if I remember right, Matt was a San Diego guy at one point. Fiance's son going in the Navy. Shout out to Shane. Give Shane a shout out. Thank you for joining and listening and being part of keeping us safe here. Are you saying the Angels have identity issues, Stanley? They might. They have been so many different. They were Los Angeles when they started, weren't they? Then they were California. Then they were Anaheim. Then they were Los Angeles. I feel like I'm missing a name. What did Danny have in there? He's right though. I think the name changes are due to their need to be in the witness protection program for their performance. That's actually pretty funny, Drew. For the movie Major League, the actors were all trained as baseball players. Charlie Sheen was the only actor who knew how to play baseball. Charlie Sheen was probably the only one who looked like a baseball player in that movie. I'm trying to think. Actually, the guy who played Dorn, he was on LA Law. His name's escaping me at the moment. He looked like a ball player. The guy who played the DH, the old State Farm guy, he didn't look like he had much of a swing. The old-time pitcher, he kind of looked like an old-time pitcher with a knuckleball. Didn't look very athletic. Willie Mays Hayes was, I guess he was fairly athletic. Played by two different actors, by the way. It's a great baseball movie, though, Chris. Billy I had at least one old-fashioned yesterday at the track. At least one? $19, and then they show you a suggested tip. Well, when I go to the Alchemy Bar or the Amari Bar, whichever one I'm at, with depending on the ship I'm on, or in a different cruise line, it's like $16 for. So I get it. I don't know what I was paying yesterday. Probably $10. So at least one, Billy. That's you're not sure how many you had after that. Lay it on the line. Triumph, 100%. OC California, New York Yankee fan. That's interesting, Matt. Triumph regrouped. Got to watch YouTube for that. I don't think I even know anything by Triumph. You're a great tidbit on the Angels. That was awesome, by the way. That was very funny. I'm stealing the witness protection statement today. Danny, I hope you don't mind me putting you back in the group yesterday. If you didn't, Rick was asking you questions. I don't know if he ever got to you or not, but he was he had pointed something directly to you, and I know you weren't going to see it. So anyway, I hate to be presumptuous, but I added you back in there. We miss your input. Tom Barringer, Dennis Haybert, he's the guy I was trying to think of. Corbin Burnson was a third baseman, played Dorn. Tom Barringer, he didn't look a lot like a ball player to me. Charlie Sheen, though, looked like he knew what he was doing out there. Donnie Baseball, the Hitman, best picture ever was him in pinstripe suit, white with navy blue pinstripes and a Tommy gun. I had the poster. Awesome, the Hitman. Yeah, catcher's look to him for sure, but he didn't seem terribly athletic when you watch him swing. It's where you see him swing and stuff like that. I mean, anybody can run. But he did look like a catcher. And man, what a life Darren led. Big, handsome guy who plays Major League Baseball and married to a playmate. Yes, unfortunately, he left us way too soon. Was he part of that Veterans Stadium brain cancer conspiracy? I feel like he was. I could be wrong. Well, you're always welcome, buddy. Stuff happens, and what are you going to do? Glad you're back. Miss your input. Anybody wants to join, all you regulars that watch your show, anybody wants to get in our TGI Sports Talk chat, just send me a message to my personal Facebook messenger, and I don't send it to TGI Sports Talk Messenger because I get so much crap in there. I don't even go back. I don't even read the messages. Danny, I know you send me something in there once in a while. If I don't get back to you, it's because I got all this spam in there of people trying to get me to click on something so they can either steal my account or shut it down. It's all fake stuff. People pretending to be Facebook people that might. For a year now, my account's going to be shut down in 24 hours. My page. Not even real. Yes, we did force a game 3. UCLA, I believe, they won, right? Yeah, they got they play an elimination game today. Not for them, for UTSA. I did pick UTSA to beat UCLA. Don't hate me. Kevin Costner is, well, he is a baseball. He's been in more baseball movies than anybody. Field of Dreams, Bull Durham. Oh, geez, what's the one where he's pitching a no-hitter and remembering his life as he goes through it? Oh, God, I can't remember it. What else? He's been in a couple other ones, I think, too. Oh, Jesus, Danny, thank you. You're the man. Danny's the man. All right, guys. Well, let's see what we got here. His bat was a machine gun. That's right. The bat was a machine gun. Thank you. Excellent point. Thank you for pointing that out, Matt. I was trying to picture it in my head. I shared it. I shared it not too long ago. We got talking about this. There, see, for the love of the game. Listen, it kind of panned by the critics. I thought it was a really good movie, by the way. There it is again. I thought it was excellent myself. Hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. Best to all the fathers. That's next weekend. It better be next weekend. If we don't see you next week, Drew, you have a happy Father's Day. Field of Dreams, 100%. All right, guys, we're going to call it quits for the day. I'm so glad you guys, I'm happy when we go over. Football season, I can't because I got to get out of here. But you guys are amazing in what you bring to the show week after week, and I love it. And I love you guys all for it. Continue to do so. Invite your friends. When I post an event, share that to your page, guys. We'll get more people in here and have lots of fun. Thanks, Matt. Have a great Saturday. Sunday, what day is it? Saturday or Sunday? Doesn't matter. Someday I won't care. You guys have a good weekend. Keith Engle, TGI Sports Talk. See you later. Bye-bye.
Football season is here, and SeatGeek is my go-to for buying tickets. Now, with SeatGeek, every single ticket is backed with their buyer guarantee. We've all had plans change, and when you can't make it to the big game, SeatGeek has you covered. They're the only ticketer that allows you to return your tickets ahead of the event for credit with SeatGeek swaps. So when things come up, I know that my tickets won't go to waste. So what are you waiting for? Download the SeatGeek app to maximize your possibilities and shop live events with confidence.
You're listening to Keith Engle, the host of TGI Sports Talk on the National Streaming Sports Roku channel.